The following program was produced by Community Producer. The content, views, and opinions expressed are the sole responsibility of the Community Producer and do not reflect Malden Access Television, the City of Malden, or your cable provider. MATV welcomes your comments. Call us at 781-321-6400 or email us at access@matv.org.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new program of Malden Rotary in the community. My name is Mark Golub, as you see on the screen. I am very fortunate to be the host of this program. Been doing it for about 6 or 7 years now, and very happy to see all of you again, or that hope you're seeing me all again. We have been featuring for the past few programs our newest members of the club. Fine young people who have a strong grasp of what Rotary is all about, what it stands for, what it means, and how it's translated into special service above self. Today is our final new member, a young gentleman by the name of Thiago Gomes, our newest member, and we're very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you, Mark.
And we'll get right into the questioning because I know you have a lot to say. The first question is pretty much a general one. Would you tell us about yourself, your history, and what you're doing at this current time?
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to become I've become a Rotarian. I was born in Framingham, born and raised in Framingham. My family actually comes from Brazil. A long time ago, the immigrations from Brazil started in the early 80s, and my parents were one of the first to get here to Framingham, which is now known as Little Brazil. I really enjoyed living out there, going to school out there. And in 2008, I moved out to the city. Saugus was actually the first city I lived in outside of Framingham, and eventually made my way into Malden, where I've been for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. Really enjoy the city life. I enjoy being able to go to a sports venue last minute. You don't have to plan ahead. We're just so close with public transportation, all the nightlife, restaurants, all the people you meet in the city, everyone's so motivated. And I really enjoy living out in the city. And a little bit more about myself. I'm recently married. It's only a year now, since April, a year and a month. She'll call me out on that. We have a dog, no kids yet. And yeah, we just really enjoy being in the city and just every day just learning a little bit more about each other and trying to reach our goals and as a couple and everything else.
Well, that's good. Where were you schooled?
So I went to Framingham High School. That's where I did my high school. And after that, we went to Mass Bay Community College in Framingham. Did a couple years there, and I realized that school it just wasn't my forte. I wanted to go on to college, Boston University or Boston College. It was just wasn't in me. I just didn't pay enough attention to the books. And I found myself working a lot and enjoying work, enjoying being able to pay for my own bills, enjoying being able to buy my own things and not have to bother my parents for anything. So before I knew it, I was working in the city. I was working in many restaurants in Boston, did a little bit of construction before I finally got into real estate.
Okay, so you're unlike the kids I know. We all looked for our parents' money to spend it all before they retired. Now that's very nice. And so you have roots in Brazil, and you speak Portuguese. That's your language of origin.
Yeah, I went to school here my whole life, so English is definitely my first language. I speak fluently in Portuguese, just not very good with writing as much. There's so many accents and syllables in Portuguese that aren't common in the U.S. So I can get away with it, but they call me out on it every now and then. The people from Brazil when they see me writing.
Okay. And you're living, where do you live now?
So now I'm in Malden, right
Wow.
on Lynn.
Not
Right up.
important to know where. You don't want your house robbed or anything. Kidding, 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 audience. And that's wonderful. Let me go on to more substantive questions. You mentioned that you're a realtor. Um, what company are you affiliated with, and what are you doing for them?
Yeah, so I've been with Keller Williams Realty. That's the company I work with now. I really enjoy working with Keller Williams Realty. When you start doing real estate and doing a good job, which thankfully I've been growing a lot, and you do get recruited. So there's other companies trying to every now, oh, let's have a coffee, let's talk about business, trying to recruit. But I really enjoy where I am. Keller Williams they're known first and foremost for the training. And when I got into real estate, I did only rentals for the first 5 years. So when I switched on to Keller Williams, which is a sales-centered company, I just had so much training, so many people supporting me, that I just feel like I want to be loyal to them and give back. And their commission splits are really good too. So I just don't see myself switching anytime soon. I enjoy what I do. Keller Williams is a great company, and they've been very supportive of my business.
Well, that's great. And where are they located?
All right, so now my office is in Reading, Eastern Middlesex. So that's my home base. As realtors, it's not like it was back in the day where we would have our own hometown, where you work in that town, you only sell and buy in that town. With the internet and just phones in general, it's just so easy for you to find out information about neighboring towns, and people are looking, my sphere of influence, which is my friends, coworkers, relatives, they're everywhere. So even though my office is in Reading, I'm working mostly out of Malden, home office, Everett, Saugus, Lynn, and then even back to Framingham, where I still have a lot of friends and family. So the office is in Reading. There's Keller Williams offices everywhere, though, and I really work pretty much anywhere within 45 minutes of Boston.
Okay. So you enjoy your occupation. And what do you have in mind in terms of your ambitions? Is there an upward mobility system at Keller Williams?
Yeah, so when I started doing real estate, I kind of fell into it. I was working a lot in the restaurant industry, and I was even doing some painting and construction with one of my friends. And we're painting one in a real estate owner's house, and he started chatting with me, and he said, "Hey, why don't you go interview for my company? I'll set you up an interview with my manager. I think you'd be great at real estate." And that's how it all got started. I was 23 years old, and I went for an interview and got the job. In the summer, I started competing with some of his top rental agents. I was renting to students from Boston University, Boston College, Northeastern, and a lot of the hospital workers from Longwood Medical in Brookline. I just had the freedom of doing real estate felt amazing to me, and being able to meet people. Going from working painting in restaurants where you're in usually a uniform and you can't be on your phone, to having a job where you have to be on your phone and you get to dress right, and you get to also manage your own schedule. I fell in love with that opportunity, and also getting to meet people. I always tell people that when you're in real estate, you're not really a salesperson, because you don't have to push a house on anybody. When they find a house they like, you just have to help them achieve the goal of making it theirs. So I was blessed to get into real estate, and I really enjoy it.
Now, I have a question. How do you get a listing?
So the most common way is referrals, your friends and family. At first, the most difficult part is to get everybody to know what you're doing. So you always want to be talking about what you do for a living. You always want to be making sure that they know that, hey, if I'm thinking real estate, I need to think about Thiago. So that's the easiest way, is just to make sure that all your friends and family know that when it comes to the time to list their house, that you're there for them. Just having knowledge of the market, having knowledge of what the trends are right now, knowledge about how to accurately list a house price and attract more buyers. But then there's also there's people who pay for leads. A lot of websites that you could spend tons of money on to get leads. they're not the best because they don't know you personally. They don't have a reference. I personally enjoy the referrals. Once you do a good job for one person, and it's like anything else, the more years you're in the business, the better it gets, because you're just touched more families, more people, and they've referred you. One turns into two, two turns into four, and before you know it, you're busy, which is the ultimate goal.
Right. Isn't there a general book of available properties called MLS or something?
Yeah, so the MLS system, it's a property database. Right now, it just made life so much easier for everyone, for buyers, sellers, and realtors. When a property becomes available, an agent representing the seller will put the property in that website, which will go out to all the other agents in Massachusetts.
Wow.
So if I have a client who's interested in your property, but I'm not the one representing you, I'll call your agent directly through the MLS system and ask for an appointment to show the house. So it's just a powerful tool to really advertise the home and get it out to many families and realtors, and you'll usually get a full open house if you can put it on the market at a good price and on the right time.
I also wanted to ask how you prepare the property for sale.
Yeah, a lot goes into preparing the property. I know that one of the most important things to the sellers is price, of course. I start off by pulling up the history of properties in the neighborhood that have sold over the last 6 months. I want to look at the size of the house, the size of the lot, and then we need to look into the quality. We have to compare apples to apples. If we have a home that we know that is very similar to your home, that sold for, let's say, $550,000, we're going to want to price the home close to that. Sometimes you'll get a seller who, and it's nothing wrong with that. People love their homes. They know how great it is. They want to get top dollar when they're going to sell it. But you have to be realistic. So showing the market history and the trends of the neighborhood really helps the sellers to get to the right number and being able to attract more people to the open houses. After you determine a price, you usually want to get a professional photographer in there. It makes a big difference. You want to declutter the home and get rid of anything personal. You don't want your family photos hanging up for when people come to visit the house.
No.
So professional photography goes a long way, and then just giving it enough time to market it before you do your first open house. I'd say usually a week before the open house, a good enough time for MLS to send the listing out to as many agents and families as possible to attract more people to your open house.
Okay. To prepare the property for sale, do you do anything with the outside of the house so that the entrance, for instance, is prettified, if I may make up a word, or to make the property more attractive to the potential buyer?
Yeah. So some people don't have the budget to spend before they're listing the house. Sometimes they're selling their home because they're in a phase of necessity. But I always recommend getting some landscaping done, declutter. If you have any, sometimes people have things around the house that have been there for years, get rid of it. If you have the time to order a dumpster, I bet you can clear a lot of things from your house. You'd be surprised how much you get together, how much you accumulate over 5, 10, 15, some people 25, 30 years of living in a home. So decluttering is huge. And then get a landscaping company out there. If you can put some fresh mulch down, if you can trim things down, just make it look presentable. The first impression for everything is the most important.
Thank you. The last question is, you know what a FSBO is?
Yeah.
A sale by the owner. What do you do to discourage a potential customer from going in that direction?
Yeah, so a lot of folks, they think that if they sell on their own, they're going to be saving money. They're not going to have to pay a realtor,
Right.
which makes sense on one end, but in the other end, they just don't have the ability to put the property in MLS, market it through Zillow, Realtor.com. There are hundreds of websites that somebody that is a professional knows. That if you're working in real estate, you already know the website. Some analogies that some people use in the business is, when you have if there's something wrong with your heart, do you go see a heart surgeon or do you go to your uncle or aunt? So the realtors are the ones who specialize in it. They do it every day and they know where to advertise everything. So you might be saving 5% or 4% from paying a realtor, but you might be losing out on 10% of the value of the home. So I always recommend, and again, the professional photos, the staging, all of that goes into listing the property correctly. And if it's something that maybe you sold 1, 2, 3 houses in your life, you don't have the experience of somebody who sold maybe 100 to 500 in their life. So it just makes more sense to work with the realtor.
Okay. You didn't think I knew any of this stuff, did you?
I wasn't expecting some of these complicated
I,
questions.
I bought a few properties in my life. Okay. Um, if somebody wants to contact you for more information, how would they do so?
Yeah, they can reach out to me by my cell phone or email. I also have a really nice website, tgomesre.com. So the first letter, my first name, gomesre.com. And then my email is the same, tgomesre@gmail.com. And phone number is 508-649-9032. I'm happy to answer questions. I really enjoy what I do. I love meeting people. And the end goal is, everyone's usually happy in the end. So that's the best, most gratifying part of my job.
Well, you certainly have the right personality for this kind of
Thank you,
job.
Mark.
You're a very nice fellow, but we won't tell anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about Rotary.
Beautiful.
How did you find out what Rotary is, and how did you find out about the Malden Club? What piqued your interest and made you decide to join that club as opposed to another club?
All right. So going back to the Rotary, I didn't really know too much about it, say maybe a year ago. I had a good friend who reached out to me. He was interested in joining the Rotary in Framingham, and he eventually did. And he told me so much about it, about the trips that they've made, all the networking, and just getting to meet people from the community.
Okay, we have to stop now. The time has gone by so quickly. We'll pick that up right after this intermission.
Perfect.
Good morning. I'm here to read you your rights.
My what?
We're all free and equal. Don't discriminate. You have the right to life.
You have the right to life and to live in freedom and safety.
You have a right to education. You have a right to your own things.
You have the right to social security. You have the right to play.
You have the right to democracy. You have the right to asylum.
You have the right to take responsibility.
And no one
and nobody can take these rights and freedoms away from you.
Why are you doing this?
You have a right to know.
We're back, friends. My guest is Mr. Thiago Gomes of the Malden Rotary Club, our newest member. He is positioned with Keller Williams Realty Firm, and as I said, a new member of the Malden Rotary Club. So let me pick up the thread of our conversation, Thiago. What piqued your interest to become a Rotarian?
Great. I had a friend from Framingham, we went to high school together, who recently reached out to me because he wanted to find out a little bit more about the mortgage business. He was thinking about becoming a lender. He was in the auto sales business for many years, worked for Toyota, really successful, but the auto business is very demanding in terms of hours. You need to be there way too many hours.
Yeah.
But he recently got into mortgage lending, and he joined the Rotary in Framingham. He reached out to me to talk about mortgages, and then eventually we started speaking about Rotary. And he was saying, speaking of the experiences, the trips, the meetings, just getting together and really get to know people, the community. You'd be surprised at the history you learn through the Rotary. Just from me sitting in the Malden Rotary lunches, I hear about past mayors, past people, strong leaders from the community, stories about the community that I would have probably never heard of had I not been part of the Rotary. So I thought it was really interesting, him telling me things about Framingham that I never knew, seeing that I was raised there. And he was really excited about it, about the growth, the networking, the people he's meeting, and just being able to be part of a community. So that really interested me, and I said, hey, why don't I look into the Rotary here in Malden? And that's what I did. I searched online. We sent out a couple emails. The Saugus, Everett, and Malden Rotaries was the three I reached out to, and the Malden one was the one I connected the most with. I was able to sit down with the Saugus one. They were really nice, But when I sat with the Malden one, I just enjoyed the close community. Everyone's so friendly. Everyone just teasing each other at lunch, and the history. It's Malden's a great city, and I think it's got nothing but upside potential. And just the transformation alone in the last 3-4 years I've been here is amazing, especially with what's going on here downtown. And I really enjoy being part of the Rotary. I'm excited that you guys sent me the invitation to become part of the Rotary.
It's been our pleasure. You're a good man. In your training for Rotary, did you learn the concept of service above self?
Yes, that was one of the things that was really attractive to me.
What does that mean to you?
Well, sometimes people are just so self-centered, especially in today's world where we're just so busy. There's really not enough time to do everything we want to do. And sometimes it crosses our minds where, hey, I want to be helpful, I want to do something. But if we don't make a commitment, if we don't have a set time in our schedule to give back to the community, it'll never happen. It'll just be a thought. So the service above self is really about being able to give back, about taking time of your day, taking time out of your life to be part of something that's bigger, that's helping out the community. And the community is so great to us. So it's nice to be able to do something back for it.
Thank you. Do you see any parallel between the principles and ideals of Rotary and the work that you do?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's about helping others. It's about community. It's about even when we're doing, let's go back to the real estate topic. If we're doing sales, if we're thinking about ourselves, about what we want, well, it'd be great to make a sale in 1 week and get it over with, but is that going to satisfy the client? And the same thing, if I'm just thinking of my own plans and worrying only about myself and not about the town I live in, and you know, so that's where I see the similarities. Being able to give back is huge, and if we don't make time for it, we're never going to do it. And you feel good about it when you know. I volunteered for that Malden 5K. That's a great example. Yeah. Man, it was cold this year. It was 5 in the morning, and the sunset came back. What was it called? The time set back an hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we woke up even an hour earlier than daylight savings. It turned back an hour, but it was so nice to be out there. Everybody was so happy running the race. I just hope we get to do a lot more of those type of events where we're just volunteering and being helpful.
Oh, that's great. There seems to be, in my view at least, a lot of attachment between who you are as a person, who you are as a professional, and who you are as a Rotarian. Yeah. There seems to be a thread of giving, of sacrifice, of being attuned to people and looking forward to help them in some way. Is that a correct supposition?
It's funny.
On my part.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I try not to see it that way. That I want to be just the healthy person. But I've honestly been blessed in life. Sometimes we have, and I feel like a lot of people are. Sometimes we just don't see it that way. But a lot of us, we live in a beautiful town. We have a really nice home, a car. We're blessed with health, and just the business itself. I could be doing so many other things, and I'm in a business where I get to meet people, where I get to help others, and I get to be my own boss practically. And I'm blessed, and I feel like I should be showing that gratitude. Maybe that's where the common thread is. I feel like if it was any different, I probably wouldn't be as successful in what I do or happy with anything else.
Mm-hmm. Most clients are fairly bright, and they're good at judging human character.
Yeah.
I know when I was either going to buy a house or sell my home, if I got an inkling that a prospective person like yourself was going to be working with me, if they were more interested in making a sale or a purchase than my needs, I would not want to hire such a person because they don't care about me or my wife or my family. They only want to make some money at my expense. Yeah. Have you run into people like that in your profession? And how do they do?
You do. I mean, you don't want to call people out, but it's dealing with an agent to agent. We get to see it even more because when they're in front of you, when there's an agent who is more self-centered. In front of you, he's gonna look like an angel, of course, but when they're on the phone with each other, when I call an agent, you could tell when somebody's proactive about making the property available for you to visit it, answer questions about the property, and you could tell when somebody just wants to get off the phone. It's either you want it or you don't.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference. When you have somebody who's helpful, who's answering questions, very likely you're gonna have your client the answer they need, and you're gonna be able to take them to see the property. But you see it, you do see it, and the people that are, there's some people who are in it for the short run, who want to make the money now, who might not be sure that this is a career, and then there's people who want to make a career out of it, and that's the category I fall in. I have a lot of really successful and way more successful than I realtors to look up to in my company, and I see their model too, and it's pretty much the same across the board. Everyone's just really good to their clients. They really want to be helpful. They really know that first it's customer service, and then everything else is going to fall into place.
Right. I see that desire, not just willingness, but desire to help another person in terms of fulfilling their needs.
Yeah.
Both you and our president, Ronnie, seem like that kind of person.
Yeah.
He's been successful, and I think you're successful, and I think you'll be very, very successful in this profession or any other profession that's people-oriented.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I love the people-oriented profession. That's the easy part of real estate.
You go out of your way
Yeah.
to ensure that their needs are met before your needs.
Exactly.
And that's a successful formula for any
Yeah.
occupation that deals with people vis-a-vis people.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. And I think you'll be, if you're not already, I think you are successful. You'll be even more successful when you take over Keller Williams. Oh, well, if you want to. We're getting toward the end of our program. Right. Any final comments you'd like to make?
Yeah. Just excited to be part of the Rotary. I really, everyone I've met, and I thank Malden TV for having me. These some really nice folks here. It's a beautiful studio. This city's it has so much potential, and I see it trending in the right direction. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like in the near future. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that we can be growing together for many, many years.
Well, you are a fine young man with a great future. And you'll have a great family. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here.
My name is Mark Golub, host of Malden Rotary in the Community, and we look forward to seeing you all the next time.